Good evening, Trade Flare family. Welcome back to the Nightly Breakdown, where we break down what happened today in the stock market, as well as give you an idea of what we're looking at into tomorrow. Now, before we head over to conduct a technical analysis of the SPY and 5 stocks, let's look at some key points to get a broader view of where we stand. So the first key point I want to start off is big tech leading this growth rotation. Today we saw Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Google. All the value names, the inflationary names lagged behind. And as far as the sentiment around the internet, around the market, is that people are getting back into big tech, getting back into big growth names. Those inflationary names, they bounce, but they're slowing down. They're lagging tech, they're lagging the big growth names. So the next key point is the dollar, bonds, and crypto. This all ties into the market. I want to point out that the dollar recently spiked faster than it has in a long time, and it's now selling off. Now, this comparison line I have here is the Chinese yuan, and I have this drawn here to point out the divergence. And also want to point out here, for the past few days, it's just been waiting here to see what the dollar is doing. And for once, the dollar was getting weaker and the Chinese yuan was not getting stronger. Now, if the dollar keeps selling off from here and the Chinese yuan gets stronger and stronger, we could see a lot of money move over into the Chinese stock market. Now, if the dollar starts moving down a lot again, that would be nice for Bitcoin. Rates were down again today after we saw them start to go up yesterday. It gave up most of yesterday's move. Rather than matching up, the yields were diverging the dollar today. So keep your eye on the yuan, the crypto, the dollar, and bonds. So let's head over to our last key point, which is, as always, our indices and our sectors. Growth was leading value today. The Nasdaq was up 0.93%, while the SPY was trailing behind, up 0.53%, and the Dow was lagging, up 0.2%. Consumer discretionary led, while tech and communications were right behind. Our laggers of the day were utilities, industrials, and consumer staples. Notice how energy and materials were right in the middle, both up about 0.5%, and that is the bounce. And this is a lot better looking of a bounce than we see in the financial sector and the healthcare sector. So keep your eye out on this energy sector and this material sector. If the dollar starts selling off, this could be a nice little dip buy for these two sectors. So we're watching these two very closely into tomorrow. So now that we have an idea of what to expect, let's dive into our analysis, starting off with the SPY ETF, which tracks the S&P 500 index. And looking at the daily, looking at candle structure, this is a green continuation candle off of that bullish engulfing candle that we saw yesterday. And notice how there's been a few resistance touches around the 423 level, and the fact that we closed above that is significant. This big bounce and continuation is because these big tech companies are holding the whole market up, and the dollar selling off is giving those inflationary plays a bounce. Tomorrow, if we break above today's high, then I'd expect to run all the way to all-time highs. If we do break out of all-time highs, I'd be targeting whole and half dollars. First target would be around $427. This is definitely an interesting move on the SPY, so watch out for this into tomorrow. So now that we know where our broader market sits, let's dive into the watch list, starting off with Qualcomm. And I like Qualcomm because this is a nice hammer candle off of this 50-day SMA, and I think we can go up and test 137. If we do break above the 137.50 level, I think this thing could run all the way up to $140. I really do like this one for the long term, and at this price, they pay a nice dividend. Their price to earnings to growth ratio is under 1. They consistently prove a gross profit margin above 60%, and I really do like Qualcomm, and I like the fact that it's been building up so much excess while being in this balance for a long time. So when it runs, I really think this thing's gonna start to run, so watch out for Qualcomm. Next up is Apple, ticker symbol AAPL, and this thing has been running and it could keep running. The Apple 135 contracts that we got down in here are up over 130% right now. Shout out to the Trade Flare family members that played this with us and made some money. Now, as far as where I think this thing's gonna go, it will probably go up and test that 135 level tomorrow. And on the first touch, we'll probably see some resistance, but eventually I do think we will break through that 135 level, taking us all the way up to these highs at 137.21. And if we do break that level, we do have poor structure all the way up to $145. Someone asked today in the Discord if $145 was possible for Apple. I think yes, but the timeline is key. If this thing's gonna really make a run, it's gonna need some consolidation periods. So the more time, the better. Make sure you're not buying into volatility as well, but definitely bullish on Apple and the rest of big tech. Next up is Restaurant Brands International, ticker symbol QSR. Looking at the daily, looking at candle structure first, we have a hammer candle, and looking at volume, especially a lot of relative volume, which makes me really want to believe that hammer candle. Another reason I like the hammer candle is because it's right at that 382 retracement level. And if you draw a 100-day moving average, it's right off of the 100-day moving average. And you really got to find a stock's personality, and this thing really does like to respect its 100-day moving average, so watch out for this. Batting cleanup is a member suggestion, Nano Dimension, ticker symbol NNDM. As far as candle structure, this is a long body green candle engulfing yesterday's highs. If you look at this recent uptrend that we're in, we're actually forming a nice little bull flag here, as well as retesting and bouncing off of this 50-day SMA. Now, as far as playing this, you could play the break of the resistance trend line, or you could play the break of the $8.44 level, which would be those highs up here. After that, we probably see resistance from our 200-day SMA around the $9 mark. Now, if we do clear these levels, my first target's going to be around 1172, but this option chain is really jacked up, so I do like this one as a shares play. And this is a really cool 3D printing growth company, so watch this one, NNDM. Last up on the watch list is another member suggestion, and we're going to look at Coinbase. And looking at candle structure on the daily, we have a hammer candle off of bottoms. I really like this one. The volume and everything is looking like we found a price floor for Coinbase. Sellers have had a lot of fun taking this thing down, but we're seeing a double bottom, seeing a nice hammer candle. If we do break above today's high, I think we could go higher. We definitely saw some solid volume driving this bounce today, so I do believe this hammer candle, and I think we could have a nice day tomorrow, so I'm watching this into tomorrow. And that wraps up tonight's nightly breakdown. If you enjoyed the video, if you gained value, or if you learned something, make sure you hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you can get notified whenever we post any live or educational content. If you're looking to join our team and be surrounded and motivated by our online community of traders and investors, as well as gain access to trade signals that let you know whenever we make a trade, check out the link in the description below to join our Discord, gain full access by upgrading to TradeFlare Pro, get half off your first month using the discount code TFPRO2021. But don't be mistaken, we are not financial advisors, and none of this is a recommendation. The stock market is risky and you could lose money, so use the information inside these videos at your sole discretion. And as always, you cannot forget that time is your most valuable asset, so quit wasting it. Get up, get out, and go get it, my friend.